Good evening, boys and girls. Day 5, the final day of Novadose. Oh, right, it's been a week. It has been a week, that is for sure. And I've saved the best till last. Oh, that's not a very good angle, is it, because of the light? That's better. Right, and I've saved the best till last. I'm going to say I did it intentionally. I didn't. This is what we were going to do in the last video, but the software on the ECU wasn't right. So, last video, let's have a recap. So you saw us put the cage back in, got that all bolted back in to a point. Didn't put the door bars in, obviously, because I haven't put the seats in yet. And the seats, well, that didn't go to plan, did it? I'm not going to do anything with the seats tonight because I still haven't picked up some new drill bits. I have got the other drill down here with me tonight, but I haven't picked up any new pilot bits for the drills yet. What we are going to do... Right then, the very first thing that we're doing tonight is changing the battery in the camera. That's it, yeah. So the very first thing we're doing this evening, or have just done, is change the battery in the camera. Always helps, doesn't it? Right. So, oh, nearly dropped that. Right, so I have now downloaded the correct software that matches the firmware that is in the ECU, or at least I think I have. So, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up DTA SWin. Now, I'll be honest with you, I have already opened this software, A, to make sure it was installed properly before I came down here, but B, to change over the... Ooh, what's this all about? Component or one of its dependencies not correctly registered. Oh, that's upsetting. Why is that not installed properly on... Fuck! Right, what we're going to do instead is I'm going to go back indoors, I'm going to reinstall this onto the memory drive and we'll start again.
A few moments later.
Okay, so had a bit of an issue with the laptop, which is frustrating. Basically, I don't have install permissions for that laptop, so what I've been doing is installing everything on a hard drive, and I just plug the hard drive in. It's always worked. Now, with this older version of software, it works on a very old school method where it installs stuff to the drive, but it also then relies on Windows 32 files from the Windows system to run. Now, that meant that I wasn't able to. Get into the folder and actually make it all work. So there was a risk that I was about to disappoint you. But desperate times, desperate measures. I've gone and stolen my mum's desktop from upstairs in her office and brought it down and plugged it in the garage. And I'm going to install everything on this laptop, on this desktop, because I can do whatever I want to this desktop, full administrator permissions. So I'm going to let this load. I'm going to load the software on. I've already plugged the ECU in, and we will, one way or another, hear this C20XE run this evening. We will. It's going to happen. Right, let me get all this installed, and I'll catch you in a second. Okay, boys and girls, we are in business. Right, it is not picking up the COM port, so I need to quickly do that. So to do that, quite simply, you go into Device Manager. When it ever loads, right, there we go, it loads. So, and then I go to Ports, COM ports, that one there. Check that one. So let's have a look at the properties. So that is plugged into, let's have a look, port settings. So that is plugged into COM3, it's plugged into. So, and then go back into here, I go File, get rid of that, press Work Offline, go File, go serial port options, change from COM1 to COM3, close that, quickly reopen it to make sure it's saved. That changed to COM3, wonderful. Right, and now I will close this. Go over here to the battery, connect the battery up. Whoop. Connect the battery up. Squeeze past here. Put my kill switch on, turn my key on. Everything comes on like it should do. Go back to the laptop, and now when I reopen the software, it should automatically detect the ECU. Oh, look at that. Look at that. It works. Boom. Right. And then old school software this is. Right, so now that we are in, we can see everything that's going on inside the ECU. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to display and test functions, test injectors, coils and auxiliaries. I'm going to turn the coil test off because they will just fire straight up. Start test mode, and I am now going to test my injectors. And when I click test, we should get some clicking and stuff happening over there. Ooh, they do work, and they pulsed really quite well. So the injectors and outputs are working, so we know all the wiring is working. So why then, Henry, have we not got the injectors injecting whilst we are cranking? It must be, like I suspected, a fuel cut of some sort, or for whatever reason, that sort of stuff. I can test the fuel pump from here as well. I can test the fan from here, that's not connected. And there's a shift light output as well, that's not connected either. Anyway, right, close the test mode. So, good news is, we know everything is sound. I have got a leak-in fit in there, look at that. Drip, 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 drip. So I'll have to sort that out. I think that is actually the end of that fitting that is leaking. We have to remake that fitting. Let's turn the fuel pump outlet on and see what our fuel pressure is. About 2 bar. Oh, I've headbutted you again. Let's wind it up a little bit. Okay, that's 4 bar. 4 bar, sorry, not 4 bar, that is 3 bar. That's where I kind of want it there. Unfortunately though, we could be in trouble here, because when I have that on, there is a lot of fuel pissing out of that hose there. And when I say a lot, I do mean quite a lot. Right, let me sort that hose out and we'll go from there. Right, I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see this, but I'll give it a go. If I hold it up there somewhere, you might be able to see. It's got a split in it. You can see there's just a little, try to get to focus. Basically, where that little kink is, there is a split inside the rubber. Worryingly, that is the second split I have found on this hose. There was obviously that one further back. Now this is old hose, it has been under the car for a long time. Originally this would have been on a bend where it was installed before we moved everything over. So it might just be that the hose is getting old and brittle, maybe where it's been sitting there dry. I'm not sure, but hopefully that's the last one. But I'll suggest maybe to Wes that he thinks about maybe changing these hoses sooner rather than later. But for now, I think that can fuck off over there. I think for now we are pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I've got everything connected back up. I'm going to take the petrol that I took out of it, which is here, pour that back in it. Give me a second. There we go. Right, hang on. Take that out of there. Pop that in there. Oh, get that out of the way. Ooh, plug that in there. Spill a little bit because you've always got to spill a bit. So plug that shit in there like that. Jankus in the tankus. Jankus in the tankus. Pop this cap back on. Try and get it to fit. Close it. Lovely job. Right, move that out of the way. Move that out of the way. We've not touched any of that stuff in there. So that is fine. Whoops. Drop that. That can go back over there, out of the way there. Can go there. Quite chaos, isn't it? Right. Okay. So let's turn the power on. Put the fuel pump back on test, and check for leaks. So come round here. Key switch on, key on. Okay, right. Come over here. Wait, because it should now still be connected. It is. Right, display and test. Oh, knock, 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 knock. Evening.
Alright.
Yeah. Oh, there's a hoodie I've not seen for a while. Turbo Sport. Oh, who remembers that? Who remembers Turbo Sport?
Forum
The old
days, mate.
Turbo Sport forums. I used to have stickers for those.
I've still got mine.
On my back windows.
I've still got my
Have you still got them?
I've still got
They're
my
probably
stickers.
still on my back windows in the shed, to be fair. God, the old Turbo Sport days, back in the day. Back in the
I
day.
couldn't find the right hoodie, so I was like,
That'll do.
That'll
That'll do. Anyway, right. Where did I get to? Right, so I got up here, display and test functions. The mouse is a bit funny because it's on cardboard. Test injectors, cores and auxiliaries. Turn the coils off. Now press start. Now press fuel pump. Boom. Right. Did that stop on its own?
no, I turned it off.
Oh, turn it on. Leave it on. Let it run. Let it just purge the air out of the system. Right, that's about 3 bar. It's a bit noisy because there's some air in it. But that's about 3 bar. So let's have a little look under here. That looks okay. There's nothing pouring out of there. Let's look at this one that was leaking previous. Now it doesn't appear to be leaking anymore, which is good. There was also a little weep on the return, which I've sorted. That weep on the injector I've not looked at yet. Let's have a look and see. Injector looks dry now.
Probably still might
A little bit of
start
fuel.
back out.
Yeah. Okay, right, so that's 3 bar. So yeah, turn that off. Right, okay, so we know the injectors work. We know the sparks work. We know the fuel pump works. We've got 3 bar. It just doesn't start. Let's give it a crank and see what happens. Right, you hold that. Doesn't sound healthy, but it runs. That was purely, completely on its own.
Yeah, nothing came up on oil pressure.
Okay, so that's fine. What is that noise? It runs and it was like, what was it? It was idling quite nicely.
Yeah, let's see what.
What was that noise? Stuck lifter.
Maybe.
Right, I'll take the rocker cover off and we'll check our lifters because I reckon that's possibly a stuck bucket and that rattling is the cam hitting the bucket as it goes round. Right, let's get an Allen key, let's get the cover off and I'll catch you guys in a second. I thought the Z-Tex had a fair few cam cover bolts in. Jesus, my life, this one had a lot of cam cover bolts in. Anyway, right, that was it. Right, so let's take that off and see what... Ow! Fucking hell, that hose was shot. See what we've got. Oh, of course, the gasket's going to come off, isn't it? Right. Well, we haven't got...
No, but
What was that? Where did that come from?
Dunno.
In there. Right, well, we haven't got a ridiculous amount of metal in the top of there, which is fine and good, and we know the thing was working. So let's put that down there. Right. Let's have a look and see what we've got. So we've got 2 cams there. Buckets are up. Obviously, buckets are down. Buckets are up. Buckets are halfway between. What have we got there? Buckets are down. Buckets are up. Buckets are halfway between. Buckets are up. That looks okay to me, to be honest. I can't see anything there that's like... The nozzle fell off this, so it's all coming out really fast. I'm going to run out of it. Get some of that gloopy shit on there.
but compared to the other ones,
Let's give it a turn over with some of this gear in there and then put some oil in the head.
I think that could be just all it is.
I reckon it's just dry lifters,
Yeah.
which would make sense. Does that spread around?
got one bucket that's solid almost. The rest aren't.
The rest aren't.
So this one here.
Yeah.
So what's that valve
So
number?
it's probably them just sort of.
That one's basically solid. The rest
Is it
are
the rest
all
are
soft.
all a bit soft, are they?
Yeah.
I have to. I don't want to pull the sump off. Shit. I don't want to drain the pan, but what we might have to do is undo the turbo drain or something just to drain a bit of this out because it was already full before I poured another half a litre in. Well, let's give it a quick crank over now. There's loads of oil sitting in there and hopefully should draw some in.
Ready?
Okay, right, we've filled the head with oil. Literally filled all the lifters as much as we can. We give it crank over a few times. The starter got a bit hot, didn't it? Started smoking a little bit, so we let it cool down. It kind of wants to go but doesn't want to go. It is now 10 past 10, so we're going to give it sort of one last chance to get it idling, and then we'll probably just have to come back another day to start the idling. There's loads more for us to get onto tonight anyway, but let's give it a go. You want to try and catch it on the throttle if you
Try and
can?
catch it on the throttle if I can.
That's less noisy. That's a lot less tappy. Okay, so at least we know it's just the throttle stop that we need to adjust for idle.
Sounded like it.
Sounded pretty good, to be honest with you, now that it's not going ding 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 ding. So it was just dry lifters, I would have said.
Yeah.
It's a bit smelly, isn't it?
Yeah, but
Wonderful. Right, well, I'm happy with that. As far as to go, that's it. That starts, that runs. Happy days. What do you reckon?
we were worried, weren't we, about it potentially being any problems when we turned it over previously.
Well, it was unknown.
But actually,
It was unknown. It's built oil pressure. It's turned over. It idled quite nicely then. It's not.
now I've got some more.
Do you know what? It's not that loud at idle.
No, that's what I was thinking.
Not
Without
compared to the turbo. I mean, it's a smaller turbo than the Fiesta, but the Fiesta, with the same sort of setup, manifolds turbo, was really loud, wasn't it? Right, that is a success. Right, what we got else to crack on then? So to crack on with, what we need to do is a couple of coolant leaks. Then we've got a bit of a coolant leak there. We've got a coolant leak there, and I think I found the cause of the coolant leak on the back of the block. So I'm going to sort those out, and then I've also got the boost hoses now, so we can get all the boost hoses hooked back up. So we're going to crack on with that, and catch you in a second. Literally, of all the places the coolant could have dripped, hit me straight in the fucking pupil. Anyway, we have got the cold side boost pipe is on. I'll show you what we've got. So obviously you've seen that bit anyway, but now it kind of goes. Hang on, I'm gonna get on the floor. Oh, hang on. Right. So now it comes off the turbo. You can see it comes off the turbo, goes around this nice aluminium 90. 180 even, and then up and out into the intercooler. We've got half of this side on, but it's really tight in there. So we're gonna have to try and sort something out there, or to be honest, it goes into that pipe is massive coming off the intercooler, and it goes once it comes off.
This one.
It goes from there and reduces into that, which, if I'm being perfectly honest, it would be a lot easier to fit that size through that hole than that size. So I know it means that Wes has probably got to buy a new elbow, but it would make a lot of sense to swap it for a different size. Different, well, hang on, because it would be a 45 that would come off the elbow.
That's the one.
Then get a smaller 45. Cool, you'd have to get quite a few bits. Don't know. I have to think about that then. But basically, it's really late now. I need to go home, and it's the last day of Novadose, so I also need to edit this video and put it on so that it actually goes out in time. Anyway, so yeah, engine works, engine runs. We've nearly sorted so we've kind of sorted the throttle. We've just got to sort the throttle stop out. That's sorted. I've sorted both the coolant leaks out and dried everything up. So when I come down here next week, we will know whether it's leaked any more or not. I've got 5 more litres of coolant turning up tomorrow. So chuck that in it and away we go. Said low battery. It's got 42% still. Like I mentioned in the other video. Got to get that sorted. Anyway, what was I saying? What was I saying? I've forgotten.
Talking about boost pipes.
Boost pipes. Yeah, do you know what? It's late. I've forgotten. It's been a long week. And basically, that is it for a week of Novadose. We've got an awful lot done. We've got a few things to button up. Get some coolant in it now, fix those leaks, and run it up, idle it, get some temp in it. In theory, once I've got the seats mounted, we could test it, test the brakes, test the gearbox and bits and pieces, drive it backwards and forwards on the driveway, make sure it's all good, and then in theory just take it up round a roundabout. Like we used to in the Fiesta. So I've got a video coming next week that's kind of Nova related. It's car related at least. Nice big box sitting in my dining room, which I will reveal to you all, and then following that one, we'll get the exhaust done on Wes's Nova. And once the exhaust is done, that's pretty much it for us for the Nova. That's kind of everything that needs to be done on our part. So the Nova will go back to Wes. He will get it mapped, and then it'll be horse course meets with the Nova, the Fiesta, and the Escort in the evenings. And
wow, 1 or 2 Escorts. Who knows?
1 or 2 Escorts. It depends. We are getting there. Probably not this weekend, but next weekend I will probably come over yours and we'll do an update, shall we? Let's have a Escort update. Weekend after next. That sounds like a plan. Right. Like, comment, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed Novadose. 5 days of looking at my face and the Nova. If not, let me know and I won't do it again. But if you did, let me know and I will. It won't be a Novadose. It'll be a Fiesta dose or an Escort dose.
Escortosis.
Escortosis. There we go. That one works, doesn't it? Right. Ta-da.